quiet day compared to the 11 out there tonight, and this 11 playing so well. They start tonight with 31 points from 13 games. They are joint top of League One. There's the shrill of the whistle of the man in charge, Darren Handley, and Town playing towards the away end, and a decent following of Bristol Rovers supporters who have made the trip up the M5 and the M6 and the M54 to be here at Otley Road tonight. Rovers in their away colours today, no famous blue and white quarters for them tonight. It's predominantly black, all black, the Rovers kit, with a light green trim on the shirts and the shorts, and the ball is out of play, and Town will have a throw in the right back position to be taken here by Bolton, the summer signing from Gateshead. Up the line it goes towards Morris, good strength from him, and he shows a bit too much of that to Lyons, who plays it forward towards Nichols. Foul spotted by the man in charge, Mr. Handley. That's a Town free kick. Sadler thought about taking it quickly, but then he puts his foot on the ball and he'll look to knock it forward here potentially. In fact, he will leave it for Henderson, the Town goalkeeper, who this time a week ago was part of the England under-21 squad in a Euro under-21 qualifier in Andorra. Henderson then clears long diagonally, right footed in the direction of Rodman, headed away by Partington, the Rovers right back. The ball bounces out of play and Rovers will have a throw in the right back position. Rovers, fairly adventurous formation, isn't it, with three recognised forwards on the team sheet in Gaffney, Harrison and Nichols.
Yeah, it is, and we know they're capable of scoring goals. Hit Northampton to 6, of course, a few weeks ago. They're capable of shipping a few as well, so if Town can get at them in their own half and pin those forwards back in, then it will be very difficult for Bristol Rovers. Conversely, if they can get a lot of possession and get the ball up the right end of the pitch from their point of view, then Town will have their hands full with those three.
Bolton forward to Morris, tries to chest it down, ball goes out of play. It will be a Town throw midway inside the Rovers half, taken by Bolton in towards Nolan, now to Worley. Nolan again, first touch pass this time to Worley, forward to Morris, who's a strong centre forward. Worley now takes over. Bolton, Worley continues his run, just about stays onside, hugging this near side touchline. Back it goes to Godfrey, now back on halfway with Enciala, plants it forward, headed away by Sweeney for Rovers, and now it's with Gaffney. Flamehead centre forward, holds it up, brings in Lyons, and Rovers now look to build down the right hand side. A chance for Partington to come forward for the first time tonight, but he runs straight into Junior Brown. Brown forward to Rodman, who was rested for at least 3/4 of the game down at Plymouth Argyle, so he should have a bit in the tank, and this is good play from Rodman. Terrific play. Picks out Morris, breaks into the box left hand side, has to check now, looks for Brown, just can't find him this time. Well won by Harrison and well charged down by Brown, and showing there's no easy out ball for Rovers, and Town win it, pressing high upfield, which has been a feature of their performances, hasn't it, so far this season. But it is Rovers who emerge with the ball with Sercombe. They break over halfway. Bowler forward from left back, goes short to Sercombe. Now it's with Lyons, switches it out to the far side to Partington. Very up and down start of the season for Bristol Rovers, as they look for the long ball forward to Gaffney, who's straight offside, and that'll be a Town free kick 5 yards outside their 18-yard box. 3 minutes on the clock, no score.
Yeah, it's when Town are at their best, isn't it, when they press high and push teams back and win the ball in the opponent's half and stop them from playing out, getting up the pitch, and just keep so much pressure on. And that's how they get a lot of their goals, actually, forcing errors and winning the ball in dangerous areas. They're such a difficult side to play against when they're energetic.
Full programme of games elsewhere in League One tonight, and Doncaster have got the first goal. They lead Portsmouth 1-0. Liam Mandeville, Doncaster 1, Portsmouth 0. Good ball from Bolton, looks for Nolan, can't take it in his stride, and the ball goes behind, and that will be a Rovers goal kick, which Sam Slocum will take. The Rovers managerial team in deep discussion. Inside the technical area, Darryl Clark, who led Rovers back into the Football League, having had the heartache of leading them out of it briefly. Big old famous club. His assistant, by the way, Marcus Stewart, former Ipswich Town and Sunderland centred forward, and Bristol Rovers, of course, big servant to that club. Rovers attack now with Gaffney, 30 yards out. Good tracking back from Rodman, who's full of energy in his early stages, and he picks out Worley, turns and uses Bolton. Bolton back to Enciala, 20 yards from his own goal. 0-0 here tonight. Enciala looks long in the direction of Morris, gets his head to that one. In fact, it bounces out off Sweeney, the Republic of Ireland under 21 international. And Town have a throw, which is taken quickly by Worley to Bolton. Now Worley once more, looking to commit players. Looks for Nolan, and now Morris. Town building well down the right. Bolton to Nolan in the box. Good footwork from Nolan. Twisting and turning. Challenge comes in from Bowler. And he plants it forward to Harrison. Well won by Enciala. This is a good surging run now from Sercombe over halfway. Clips it forward. Gaffney gives chase. Henderson comes a long way out and deals with it. But Rovers, unlike Plymouth Argyle on Saturday, coming to attack Town.
Yeah, they are, and actually that's good for Shrewsbury Town. It's probably the first time all season I've seen Town a bit stuck for ideas of just how to break down one bank of 4 and 1 of 5 of Plymouth Argyle, and I've been going on about this ever since Saturday. It's unbelievably negative, but they got a result, and as soon as they scored first, they were well placed to do that. Bristol Rovers, on the other hand, pouring forward, which will leave gaps.
Bolton, bit of a loose header this time, goes straight to Sercombe, dipping effort and not too far off target. Bit looser header from James Bolton, sat up for Sercombe, who took a touch and he couldn't resist the opportunity to have a pop. It was a decent effort, dipping effort, always going over, but not a bad sighter from the former Oxford player Liam Sercombe.
Yeah, as a central midfielder, that's the sort of shot you dream of flying in. It sat up beautifully for him. He hit it hard. It was never really threatening Dean Henderson's goal. But yeah, there's plenty of pace in both sides. As I say, both want to attack, both leaving gaps for that pace to run into. Potentially, we could have a really exciting game of football tonight.
It's the first shot from either side, then it's gone the way of Bristol Rovers. Henderson not called into action. Kept quite a few clean sheets already, the Manchester United loanee. Town attack now down the left-hand side with Brown. Brown looking for some movement from someone in blue and amber. It's Morris who turns well on the left-hand side. Brown continues his run forward. Good hold-up play for Morris. Goes back to Rodman. Rodman has a go at Partington and beats him. Then he checks back on himself. Nolan takes over now. Delivers right-footed. Too much on that one. Far too high for Worley, and the ball just trundles harmlessly out of play. And that will be a goal kick to the team from the Memorial Stadium. Bristol Rovers 0-0.
Yeah, I think the two wide players, Worley and Rodman, I know Worley scored on Saturday, that will be the big extra that they need to contribute as the season wears on. More goals. I mentioned that nobody in the top 7 has scored fewer than Town this season. Payne and Morris have been fairly prolific between them, but they need some help from midfield and from wide areas, and if those players can add goals to their game, Nolan as well, Town will be a real attacking force.
Here is Nolan, loses it, but then Rovers give it away, and Worley's in full flight here. Shows a bit too much of that to Bowler. Worley doesn't give it up though, battling with Bowler, and the centre and the left back rather does well, doesn't panic, just hooks the ball into touch, and Town will have a throw. Thought Worley might be away there to stretch his legs for the first time. Instead it's a throw to Town. 10 yards inside the Rovers half on the right-hand side. Bolton with it towards Morris, doesn't quite reach him. Headed away by Bowler for the gas, as they're known in that part of Bristol. Worley's touch is a bit loose, and Rovers clear up towards Gaffney. Decent flick. Harrison, who's pacey and strong in equal measure, battling with Bolton. Foul given against Bolton. Looks 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. Rovers free kick though, 45 yards from the Town goal. Yeah,
there's just as much backing in there from the Bristol Rovers man as there was anything from Bolton, but he looks lively. Ellis Harrison, quick enough, strong too. He's going to be a handful.
Now Bradford have scored early against Oldham. Bradford 1, Oldham 0. Rovers take the free kick square to Sercombe. Doncaster now 2-0 up on Portsmouth thanks to an own goal from Burgess. As Rovers go direct, Enciala gets a little bit underneath that one, but Town clear. And as far as the edge of the box, taken down now by Nichols. Rovers flick it forward. Is that a foul by Enciala? No, referee looked at it as Harrison went down, and Rovers from 15 yards inside their own half in the form of Lyons goes all the way home to Slocum, the Rovers keeper. Former Scunthorpe United goalkeeper. As Rovers build down the right-hand side, Town deal with it. Sadler having another good season, mops up, puts it into the first couple of rows of the county group stand opposite from where we're sat at the back of the Road and Wycherley stand on this mild October evening at Otley Road, the Montgomery Waters Meadow. 10 minutes on the clock. Town 0, Bristol Rovers 0. Southend are 1 upon Peterborough. Marc-Antoine Fortuné, the Frenchman, has got the goal there. And in the Champions League, Manchester City, who are in such free scoring form, they're 1 upon Napoli. Raheem Sterling with the first goal of the night at the Etihad. As Henderson, the goalkeeper, bowls the ball out here to Bolton. Just plays it square to Enciala, forward to Godfrey. Telegraphed his intentions. Bowler, who's on loan from Arsenal, read it. And now here's Nichols, plays it up towards the edge of the box, shooting chance maybe. Bowler on the overlap, tries to swing the ball in, well blocked by Bolton. Rovers corner.
Yeah, Town have just been a little bit careless in possession in their own half at times this evening, and what they don't want there is Matt Sadler isolated against one of the Bristol Rovers front threes. Not the quickest, and he did well in the end to shepherd the ball wide, and it only resulted in a corner.
Corner then at the Salop Leisure Stand end. Chris Lyons will take it. Good noise from the travelling Bristolians here tonight in Shropshire. Corner taken towards the far post. Henderson comes and it's an easy take. That's the difference, I guess, between Henderson and Ludweiler, isn't it, who had 3 good years here. Ludweiler in that situation may well have looked to punch it. Henderson wants to catch it. Good early release. Rodman to Worley. Time build down the right. Great ball, and Rodman's in on goal. Angles tied. Rodman scores! Oh, what a move! What a move! Throw out from the goalkeeper, Henderson, and then the wingers combined superbly well. 1-2, Rodman and Worley. Rodman broke into the box and rolled it underneath Slocum, and Town up and running early on here. Shrewsbury 1, Bristol Rovers 0. A classic end of the field move, delightfully finished by Rodman.
Terrific counter-attack, wasn't it? Rodman started the move, broke away, found Worley, continued his run, and no Bristol Rovers player tracked him. Worley just knocked it in behind. Rodman managed to stay onside. He did well to do that, actually, but it looked like his first touch had taken it too far away from him. Goalkeeper Slocum came out, didn't nearly make himself big enough, and Rodman just knocked it past him. So simple, but beautifully executed, exposing Bristol Rovers' poor defending. And I said, Town needed the wingers to chip in with more goals. Well, Worley's made it, and Rodman's finished it.
What a move there, wasn't it, from the goalkeeper's throw out. Henderson to Rodman to Worley to Rodman to the back of the net. That is superb.
Well, it was a triangle, wasn't it? It was a little passing triangle that just happened to encompass the entire pitch, because Henderson bowled it out from the edge of his own penalty area. As you say, Rodman knocked it to Worley out on the right hand side, just continued his run, and nobody followed him. He was almost stunned looking at him that he was in so much space when Worley knocked it in behind for him to run onto, and I think that's what contributed to his first touch being heavy. He got there before the goalkeeper though, and finished really nicely, beating the goalkeeper at his near post. Not the most convincing of attempts from Slocum to get to it, but a really well executed move, and Town exploited all of Bristol Rovers' defensive weakness there, cut through them.
Yep, terrific goal from Shrewsbury Town. Maintains their habit of scoring in every game this season. What's their 17th game in League and Cup, and they've scored in all 17. Not many teams have done that, I would hazard a guess. They always score, and they've scored early tonight. Alex Rodman, Slocum the goalkeeper, who had no chance with that sumptuous finish from Rodman. As Rovers now look to hit back. They'll feel a little bit hard done by to be behind, having played pretty well so far. Long way to go, but a super start for Paul Hurst's side. Rovers look to build down the left here with Bowler. Maribor 0, Liverpool 2. And in the Champions League, Coutinho with the second for the Reds in Slovenia. Rovers patient build up this time. They go square to Sweeney. Sure, Darrell Clark very unhappy the ease in which Town opened up Rovers there. It was quality football though from the home side. Rovers attack down the right hand side. Junior Brown goes across to cover and he's beaten. Ball played in and well covered by Sadler, turns it behind. Rovers corner as the team from the West Country look to hit back.
He almost fell over it, Junior Brown, as he blocked the cross. He almost went too far and the ball ran under him, and Sadler did well to mop up behind and help him out. Town have got to switch on here. They have just scored. They don't want to be pegged back immediately.
Rovers corner then. some of the Town subs just having a stretch in front of the family stand. Dodds, John Lewis. Here comes a corner, swung in, headed goalwards, and off target by Sweeney. He complained that there was a touch en route. He wanted the corner, but he won't get one. And that would be a goal kick to high-flying Shrewsbury Town, who, as it stands, are back on top of League One in the live table by virtue of the fact that Wigan, former Premier League side, are being held 0-0 at Gillingham so far. Long way to go, yes, I know, but fantastic start for the Town with that 12th minute goal from Alex Rodman. Manchester City are now 2-0 up on Napoli, and it's that man again, Gabriel. Have I been learning?
Jesus,
thank you.
I don't know how I've become the doyen of Brazilian Portuguese. I'm hearing what I hear off telly.
You're listening closer than me, clearly. Wimbledon 1, Rotherham 0. Lyle Taylor for Dons, who have been masters of the 1-0 win when they have won this season. Rovers have a throw midway inside their own half. Town 1, Bristol Rovers 0 here on BBC Radio Shropshire. Rovers play the ball out to this near side. A long way to go, and they have got goals in them, Bristol Rovers. Long ball from Sweeney, looking for Ellis Harrison, well cleared by Junior Brown. And then Sadler steps in and clears. Rovers knock it forward. Bolton this time does the defensive work for the Town. And Rovers take it down on halfway. But they give it away now. Here's Rodman, well rested, he's energised, he's having a terrific game. Runs to the Rovers back line, he's challenged and he wins down a throw well upfield.
Yeah, a second goal for Shrewsbury, and Bristol Rovers just having the look of a team that might capitulate. Decent going forward at times, but brittle.
Ball in from the right towards Worley. Cannot quite get on the end of that one. I know what you're saying, and you can see why Rovers have, well, conceded 3 times in a number of their away games already at Portsmouth and at Bradford, to name but 2 of their away games so far. They look good going forward, but not overly convincing at the back. And Paul Hurst would have done his homework on them and know that his team can get at Rovers. Rovers have a throw on halfway. A bowler, who's a pacey player down this left-hand side, takes it, gets it back, feeds it in field to Circum. Now bowler again, well blocked off by Abu Agogo. And Rovers just edging forward have forced another throw. Town 1, Bristol Rovers 0. This is the first of 2 home games, remember, for Town this week. Fleetwood, who were something of a bogey team for Town last season, come here on Saturday. Block tackle from Godfrey. Ball doesn't quite go out for a corner, but it will be a throw to Rovers right next to the corner flag as they attack down the left-hand side. Mention of Fleetwood, they're losing at Scunthorpe. Lee Novak, Scunthorpe 1, Fleetwood 0. Rovers take the throw in field to Nichols, who gives it away to Nolan. Nolan takes a bit of a chance on the edge of his 18-yard box, but he finds a go-go, and now Bolton clears. Nolan again. Godfrey takes over, prods it forward. Rodman gives chase, beaten to it by Lockyer, the Rovers captain, who sends it all the way back to Slocum. And Slocum will look to get Rovers moving in the right direction. But it's Town 1, Bristol Rovers 0. And Town will be happy to be back in front, won't they? Having had to come from behind to rescue points at both Walsall and at Plymouth Argyle in their last couple of matches, both on the road. Rovers attack down the right here with Nichols. Good ball comes in, well defended by Enciala. Helped on its way by a go-go. Rovers will look to keep the pressure on in their away colours of black and green tonight. Great breaking up from Godfrey. Look at the marauding run now from the Norwich loanee over halfway. Options right and left. He uses Worley. Good dribbling from Worley, opening up him. Worley shoots straight at the keeper. A yard either side, it could have been 2-0.
What a fantastic piece of midfield play from Ben Godfrey, winning the ball back and then driving forward. It was almost Steven Gerrard-esque, wearing number 4, breaking out from midfield, just as he used to do for England all those years ago. And Worley, once he'd beaten his man, probably should have scored. In the end, he drilled it straight down the throat of the goalkeeper. When anywhere near across the face of goal, surely would have made it 2.
Well, Rovers look to play Harrison in here on the blind side. Well read by Enciala, who clears. 19 minutes played here. Town 1, Bristol Rovers 0. Alex Rodman with the goal on 12 minutes here. Rovers go route 1 towards Gaffney. Bolton's got to be alert, and he watched that all the way, didn't he? The ride back, excellent defensive header. And then Town look long with Worley, and out of play it goes for a Rovers throw. Just look at that counter-attack. Godfrey did brilliantly. I know it's easy from where we are. Might he played it to the left-hand side? Did Worley have a little bit more to do maybe than a couple of the other players who were up there with him?
Yeah, it's a fair point. There was space over to the left. I think it was Rodman over on that side, but Worley got the ball, beat his man, got plenty of space to shoot. The angle was not the tightest, actually, and in the end he just smashed it straight at the goalkeeper when any sort of decent connection on it that would have taken it across the keeper would either have found the goal or, had it forced to save, might have given a rebound to Morris or the opposite winger.
Well, Harrison went down very easily there under a challenge from Sadler. Referee not impressed. On we go. Enciala plays it forward, first time in the direction of Carlton Morris. Ball evades both he and Sweeney. And Lyons, not for the first time tonight, goes safety first, plays it home. Back to the Rovers goalkeeper Slocum. Rovers build from the back now. Long breaking ball knocked forward in the direction of Harrison, who does well to evade the attentions of Bolton. Harrison might think about the shot, tries to bend it, it's wide. Spectacular dive from Henderson. Not a bad effort though from the young Welshman, Ellis Harrison, who is a talent.
That was quite funny. I know Dean Henderson said before the game that he became a goalkeeper because he liked diving around. That was fully 10 yards wide, and he's gone like a starfish at it. But he enjoys it. He's enjoying himself out there, and when it's nowhere near the goal, who can blame him?
Yep, makes it look better, doesn't he, for the cameras when the goalkeeper goes full length. Good management again from Paul Hurst, isn't it? He rested Worley at Walsall, put him back in at Plymouth, and he scored. Rests Rodman at Plymouth, puts him back in tonight, and he scores. When you're hot as a football manager. He's got that Midas touch at the moment. Liverpool now 3-0 up at Maribor in the Champions League. Mo Salah with the third goal of the night. Rovers flick it up towards halfway, towards Harrison. Nichols takes over, well covered by Enciala, fizzes it back to Henderson. Takes a touch outside his 18-yard box and gets rid quickly as he's closed down by Gaffney. And there's Marcus Stewart, the assistant manager, showing it the touch that made him a very expensive centre forward once upon a time when Ipswich and Sunderland signed him. Good player, Stewart.
Yeah, he went up he was top scorer in the Premier League, wasn't he, when Ipswich went up, moved to Sunderland for a load of money. One of those double signings that sticks into your mind, him and Torre Andre Flo, because they looked like a giant and a very tiny man next to him in the photo of them holding up the red and white striped shirt. Not the first set of Sunderland centre forwards not to really hit the ground running and hit the mark in the Premier League.
Well, Rovers build down the right hand side this time. They keep the ball flicked on by Gaffney, well run by Brown to Godfrey. Nice ball forward, great flick from Worley, almost finds Nolan, almost but not quite. Well snuffed out this time by Sweeney. Rovers now attack down the right and clearly offside. Nichols, who was a good player at Exeter, remember him scoring a couple of goals against Town. Remember that season when Mickey Mellon had first come to the club and Town had a terrific winning run, and they went to Exeter and were 2-0 up. James Collins scored a couple and Exeter came back and won. I think Nichols got at least one, maybe two for the Grecians that
couple
day.
I think he got that day, yeah. It was quite a game. And just looking at this one, Town don't look quite as solid as they normally do when Bristol Rovers get the ball in the Town penalty area, or in and around the Town penalty area. They've got so much movement in their front three, no big centre forward. Even Harrison is quick and nimble, and they are causing Sadler and Enciala some problems.
Here's Harrison battling with Sadler, who does well. Plays it square to Enciala, forward to Agogo, the tireless captain. Town just keep the ball on the edge of their 18-yard box. If you're just joining us on BBC Shropshire, midway point of the first half, Town are a goal to the good. Alex Rodman scored it. It was a thing of beauty as well. Swapping passes with Worley and finishing delightfully under the keeper Slocum. Town build down the right, Morris to Johnny Nolan. Nolan square to Godfrey, good ball forward to Rodman, lovely spin, and he lays it off to Brown. Diagonal ball in from the left hand side towards Morris, heads it goalwards, and it's gone in! Town are 2 up! Oh! Super header from Carlton Morris. Don't know whether the goalkeeper might have done a little bit better there, maybe Slocum, but Morris headed it down. I think it's gone in off the post, has it? Carlton Morris back in the team tonight, and he's back with a bang. It's Shrewsbury 2, Bristol Rovers 0.
Well, that is a phenomenal header from Carlton Morris. Unbelievably good centre forward play. The defender might feel that he was climbing all over the back of him, but Morris jumped above the Rovers man at the back post, and a towering header down into the ground. I think it kissed the inside of the post. as it went past Slocum. He might have got a touch on it as it passed him, but what a header. Powered it down past the goalkeeper down to his left. And we know Stephen Payne has been on fire, but it's taken some of the limelight away from a boy in Carlton Morris, who has been superb when he's played for the Town, the on-loan Norwich man, and that is awesome header.
What football again. Lovely reverse ball from Rodman out to Brown. Great ball in, wasn't it? And just a sort of trial centre forwards crying out to attack, and he got up so well, didn't he? Carlton Morris, the on-loan Norwich City man. And it's Town 2, Bristol Rovers 0. Town, remember, many of their wins this season have come by the odd goal. Who knows what's going to happen? Still 65 minutes to play in this one, but it's looking good, isn't it? As Rovers attack down the left with Bowler. Good covering from Bolton. And anyone who came here tonight a little bit fearful whether that long journey down to Plymouth had taken its toll on Shrewsbury Town. A lot of bit of it so far, at least, as Rovers play the ball into the box, well headed away by Sadler, only as far as Nichols. Nichols shoots, terrific block from Junior Brown, the man who made the second goal. Rovers still keep the pressure on here down the left with Circum, swings the ball in, well nodded away by Sadler, up towards Worley, and Worley has caught Harrison this time, and the referee wants a word with the winger, who's not moving too well there. Sean Worley. In Whitfield, the media manager, dragged Sean Worley off the team bus outside Home Park to speak to us on Saturday, and I felt a little bit guilty because Sean was hobbling then from an early knock, and has picked up a bit of a bang there, but I'm sure he'll be fine, and we'll run this one up. Town 2, Bristol Rovers 0. Goals from Rodman and Morris, the two men who have come into the team tonight.
Yeah, as you say, when you're hot as a manager, you're hot. But yeah, Junior Brown's cross was one of those that just hung at the back post, and for a centre forward it almost asked you, how much do you want to score? You've got to get beyond the defender, you've got to get above them, beat them to it, and power the header goalwards. And well, Carlton Morris absolutely wanted to score. It was a fantastic header.
Rovers free kick then. This is dangerous. In fact, they don't go for goal. Lyons works it out to the right hand side. Ball clipped in now dangerously. Henderson rises easily. It was inventive, wasn't it, from Bristol Rovers? But I'm a bit surprised they didn't try and work a shooting chance there. Maybe it was a reasonable position, wasn't it? And as it was an easy take for the goalkeeper. Now Town have lost the ball midway inside their own half. Gaffney plays it in just in front of Harrison, and it flashes wide. Look at Henderson coming charging out to prevent the corner kick, and he does. Wasn't going to give that one up, was he, Henderson? First rendition of Dino of the night. He was quick, wasn't he? Rovers have a throw adjacent to the edge of the 18-yard box as they attack down the left-hand side. Lyons plays it forward, well blocked off by Worley. Rovers pick up the pieces with Circum. Rovers who have looked pretty dangerous going forward so far. Here they come again. They look for Nichols, who wins the header, but they've had no answer to Town. When Town have got at them, Town have scored two, could have had a third with that Worley chance straight to the goalkeeper. But it's Town 2, Bristol Rovers 0, and the locals here tonight enjoying themselves immensely. Town have a throw in the right back position, which James Bolton will take. Town 2 goals to the good then. The score they beat Rovers by last season in one of the first league games in charge under Paul Hurst, who continues to work wonders, doesn't he, here at Shrewsbury Town. They love him, and what's not to love if you're a Shrewsbury Town supporter, because he has absolutely transformed this football club since coming in, heading towards the one-year anniversary actually of his appointment. Here's Godfrey, great strength, breaking up play. Godfrey then slides the ball through beautifully to Morris. The two Norwich loanees combine. Morris on the right hand side, breaks into the box, angles tight, on he goes, squeezes the ball in, it's 3-0! John Nolan! Oh, wonderful! Godfrey down the right to Morris, pulls it into the middle, and there's Nolan sweeping the ball in. That is absolutely fantastic. Picture book football again from Grampen Shrewsbury Town. Shrewsbury showing why they are the final unbeaten team in the Football League tonight, turning it on, make no mistake. 10-3, Bristol Rovers 0.
They are tearing Rovers apart. Chris Lyons in the Bristol Rovers midfield saw Ben Godfrey bearing down on him, got absolutely terrified, like a rabbit in the headlights, pulled out of the tackle. Really embarrassing midfield play from Lyons, but Godfrey, big and powerful, won the ball, took it past him, played a lovely ball into the right hand side. cross came in, and there was Nolan breaking into the box late. He wants to score more goals, and if he keeps getting into the penalty area, keeps making those late runs, keeps getting on the end of crosses like that, he'll get well into double figures this season. That was another great move, capitalising on a mistake.
Rovers look to hit back with Gaffney, having a go at Sadler. No way through for him, and Rovers will have to settle for a throw out on the far side. Real Madrid are 1-0 down to Tottenham. Great start for Tottenham at the Bernabeu. An own goal. Real Madrid, they all count. Real Madrid 0, Tottenham Hotspur 1 in the Champions League. Here at the Meadow, Town are 3-0 up on Bristol Rovers. Good for the goal difference, isn't it? 3-0. We haven't even played half an hour. We have now, actually. Nolan surging forward, plays in Worley down the right-hand side. Worley breaks into the box. Worley still shoots. Oh, just wide of the near post. It was so nearly. 4-0. Incredible. Absolutely incredible.
Well, Worley has had two fantastic opportunities and again has missed, having done the hard part. It was a really good run inside to keep the ball edge of the penalty area on his weaker left foot, but he put it wide from a really good position. How many do you want, Shrewsbury Town? That's the question tonight. 3-0 up, and every time a blue and amber wave pours forward, they look like they're going to get another one.
Yep, irresistible at the moment, aren't they? Rovers could be a long night for them at the moment as a go-go knocks it forward towards Morris on the left-hand side, takes it down, plays in Rodman, who's been terrific. They all have. Drops his shoulder, might think about the shot. Still Rodman, now shoots right-footed. Big deflection on that one. Headed away by Mark Bowler, the on-loan Arsenal player. Ball played forward by Bolton. Rovers clear this time, but they are all over the place at the moment. The team from the West Country. Town have scored 3 times here without reply so far. It doesn't flatter them either, does it? 3-0. Yeah, Rovers have had their moments going forward, but Town have defended well. And they've been pretty clinical, haven't they, Town? Goals from Rodman, Carlton Morris, and now John Nolan. 3-0 to Paul Hurst's side. Remember, Wigan, he replaced Town at the top of the table on Saturday on goal difference. They're 0-0 at the moment at Gillingham. Blackburn are losing 1-0 at home to bottom club Plymouth Argyle. Here's Nolan on halfway to Godfrey, who's been outstanding, hasn't he? Plays the ball out to Bolton. Town attack down the right-hand side, looking for a fourth here. Ball played in by Bolton towards Morris, takes it down, angle's pretty tight. Morris keeps the ball alive to Rodman. Finds Nolan edge of the box. Town looking for a fourth here. Wouldn't bet against them, would you, either? As Rodman plays the ball in, headed away from Worley. In fact, it did come off Worley, I think it did. Yes, it did. It goes behind. And that will be a goal kick. But what on earth are the Rovers managerial duo, Gerald Clark and Marcus Stewart, saying to one another as they try and plot a way back into this League One match for their beleaguered team as it stands?
Well, at the moment, it's all about trying to stop this getting really embarrassing for Bristol Rovers. 3-0 up after half an hour, Town. And, well, Bristol Rovers look all over the place to the extent where I think Abu Agogo might score tonight. That's just
kind of night.
That's just how much Town could share this out.
Yep, it's wonderful, isn't it? Town 3-0 up and playing really well. They could have had a couple more, couldn't they, when you think of the Worley shot saved and the Worley shot just off target. Rovers looking to get one back before half-time. They look for Gaffney. Well blocked by Sadler. Godfrey flicks it out towards Rodman. Rodman carries the ball up towards halfway, drops his shoulder. He's on a different level tonight, isn't he? Beating Rovers players with ease, Rodman. So fit and strong and dynamic down that left-hand side for the Town. Rovers win it back now with Bowler. Goes back into his own half to Sweeney, the man who's come into the back four tonight for Broadbent, who's on the bench. Might be a good game for Broadbent to be sitting out as it stands with his team 3-0 down. Here's Harrison. Good hold-up play. The goals have come directly in front of the travelling Bristolians, by the way. Adding insult to injury if you're a Rovers supporter, that, isn't it? Rovers play it square now to Lyons. This is fantastic. I know it doesn't count for an awful lot the size of a place you come from, but Bristol, a big city. And here's Shrewsbury Town from rural Shropshire, taking apart big city club Bristol Rovers by 3-0 as a go-go plays it forward. Covered here by Bowler, the left back. Plays it back to Slocum, who's had to pick the ball out of the back of his net 3 times already here on BBC Radio Shropshire. We're enjoying this one, Mark.
Yeah, it's been absolutely fantastic at times from the Town, and as you say, it could have been even better. They've had chances through Worley. They look like they can carve Bristol Rovers open at any opportunity. Here's
Gaffney down the right, does well. Plays it to Ollie Clark. Clark has got Bowler in some space on the left-hand side. Finds him, Bowler delivers. Bolton chests it away. Had to be careful there not to handle. Town look for Carlton Morris. Rovers knock it forward. Flicked on in the direction of Harrison. Easily won by Sadler, who's having a good night so far at the heart of the back four. And here's Rodman. Here he is again. Strong, direct run through the middle of the pitch. And all Rovers can do to stop him is foul him. Chris Lyons didn't have a prayer of staying with Rodman there if he hadn't had to resort to foul means. Town free kick, 40 yards from goal.
Lyons is having an absolute shocker. He's not the only one in a Bristol Rovers shirt having a really poor night, but he's been frightened out of the game by Godfrey. Then a really cynical pullback on Rodman, and Town, well, they can score as many as they want to tonight, as many as their clinicalness allows. They are so on top, so much better than the visitors.
Free kick taken short. Godfrey, another ball to Nolan, edge of the box. Nolan, who's got a goal already, finds Bolton. Bolton has a go at Circum. Christian Ribeiro has equalised for Oxford against Charlton, 1-1 as Rovers give the ball away. Worley to Bolton, drives forward, he's caught, is he? No, not this time. Goal kick. Saves the man in charge, Mr. Handley. And some welcome respite for the team from the Memorial Stadium. Bristol Rovers, you remember, in their last away game were 6-0 winners at Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank's Northampton Town. Fair to say Shrewsbury were a different sort of proposition as opposed to the struggling Cobblers.
How bad are Northampton? By the way, if this Bristol Rovers turned up and hit them for 6, in fairness, Rovers have looked fairly dangerous going forward.
Yeah, they have.
But at the back,
may have been their undoing in some ways. The fact they've come and had a go to after might seem.
Because they have been sliced apart in the counter-attack, and they've looked awful defensively. And actually, it's exactly the opposite to Plymouth, isn't it? Who put up the barricades against Town on Saturday and got a point. If you leave space for Worley, Rodman and whichever centre forward Paul Hurst deploys to exploit, they will.
Well, Rovers have the ball 35 yards from the Town goal with Clark, namesake of the manager. Ollie Clark, the player, Darryl Clark, the manager. Rovers knocked the ball into the box, easily headed away again by Sadler. Nolan now, great ball forward to Morris on halfway. Morris spins, great strength from the centre forward in the centre circle. On he goes. Bowler steps in, does well. He's a big unit to be running at you, isn't he? Bearing down at you, Carlton Morris. He's such a powerful youngster. Speaking to some Norwich fans about him a couple of weeks ago, and they've got big hopes that he can make the breakthrough at Carrow Road, and why not? Hopefully he's here for quite a while to come to entertain us at Shrewsbury there.
It's remarkable, isn't it, that Norwich haven't exactly set the championship on fire this season. How are they better than Carlton Morris and Ben Godfrey to not be in their first team squad in their match day 18? It's remarkable, but Shrewsbury are getting the benefit.
Rodman plays it forward. This time it goes all the way through to the Rovers goalkeeper Sam Slocum. Plays it out from the back to Sweeney. Bit loose, plays it back to Slocum. All in green, the Rovers keeper gets rid quickly, didn't want to dwell on that one. And Rovers now bail down the right hand side. Partington, the right back, looks to get forward. He's caught by Rodman. He's got to be careful not to pick up a cheap booking. He went through a run, didn't he, earlier in the season when he picked up bookings in 3 successive games. Town have had no one suspended as yet in terms of 5 yellow cards. A couple of them heading in that direction. A go-go, I think. Junior Brown as well. They'll want to stay out there every week to be available. Stephen Payne, who I'm sure is licking his lips at the prospect of coming on at sub-stage. It's warming up here, the top goal scorer, as Bolton clips it forward down the right-hand side. Ball bounces out off Sweeney. It will be a Town throw, and Carlton Morris will take it. Town 3-0 up here and playing superbly well.
Stephen Payne's shorts are the size of a circus tent. He's warming up in front of us, and they are absolutely vast. I know he's a big bloke, but they've got to be 6XL. made especially, surely. Huge.
Nolan forward to Morris. Good touch. And then a very clear-cut foul from Lockyer, who last week was on the bench for Wales as they experience heartache at the Cardiff City Stadium against Ireland in that World Cup qualifier. Salah scored again for Liverpool, Mo Salah. Liverpool 4-0 up in Slovenia against Maribor in the Champions League, and Tottenham 1-0 in front in the Bernabeu against Real Madrid, and Manchester City also in front against Napoli. So a good night so far for the English clubs in Europe, and a fantastic night for Shrewsbury Town here thus far. 5 minutes to go in this first half. Town 3-0 up, and Sean Worley is standing over this free kick. Bolton, Enciala in the mix. Here comes the ball. Junior Brown heads it goalwards, and it's gone in! But it's 4-0. What a leap for Junior Brown in off the far post. 4-0 to Shrewsbury Town. Fantastic header for Junior Brown, and Town are running riot. Shrewsbury 4, Bristol Rovers 0.
Well said, Carlton Morris's header was fantastic. That was even better from Junior Brown. Whipped in, outswinger from the right-hand side. And Junior Brown rose high. He's got such a good leap on him, Junior Brown, like an NBA basketball player. He powered that across the goalkeeper, and again, in off the inside of the post. Perfectly placed header. That is phenomenal from the left full-back, who is a threat when he gets into the opposing penalty area. The ball in was decent. Junior Brown's header was absolutely phenomenal. And if Liverpool are going to score 4, so are the Town. Who's going to get the most tonight? That's the big question this evening.
But here come Town again. They want a 5th here. I can't believe I'm saying this, not even at half-time. Can I recall anything like this at this stadium since Town moved in 10 years ago? Marvellous football from Shrewsbury Town. Bristol Rovers in complete disarray. This time they do get a free kick. It was a wonderful header, wasn't it? From Junior Brown, who's not the biggest, but he gets up so well, doesn't he? And he really wanted that. And no chance for the keeper, who was rooted to the spot. Shrewsbury 4, Bristol Rovers 0.
It's unbelievable, isn't it? And we've been saying for a while, when we've been talking before games, that at some point Shrewsbury are going to really thrash somebody, because they've had a few games where they haven't converted all of the chances they've had, or haven't really made their dominance count. Well, I think some point is now.
Well, Rovers look to get one back. Ball played in, too high for Harrison. Look at the away end. Rovers fans, I take it they're heading to the buffets and not heading out of the exits. There are lots of them heading down the steps. I think they've seen enough of this first half, that's for sure. 4 goals directly in front of the away end as well. 4-0 to Shrewsbury Town, and we're not even at half-time. Goals from... this might take some time. Rodman, Morris, Nolan and Brown. It's that sort of night when I have to check and think who has scored the 4 goals.
That's almost half the team. So
yes,
you know, they've shared them around really nicely. It's the first time I've ever seen a bunch of people storm off to the buffet as well. I think there might be a few heading to the car. There's a really morose look about the away end over on that far side, but the rest of the ground are having a party.
But this is boosting the goal difference considerably, isn't it, as well, for Shrewsbury Town, which is very useful. Wigan's goal difference was quite a bit superior to Shrewsbury Town at the start of play. 8 better.
Yeah.
Town are making decent inroads into that then, aren't they? Wigan 0-0 still at Gillingham, who have Steve Lovell, one of the coaches, as interim manager at the moment. 0-0 there. Game you'd expect Wigan to win, but you never know. Gillingham got a good win at Peterborough on Saturday, didn't they? Real Madrid have equalised against Tottenham, 1-1. Ronaldo penalty. Godfrey, who's been fantastic, they all have so far. Lovely crossfield switch to Junior Brown. Forward now to Rodman. Rodman weaves his way in field. Strong direct run again, and he's caught cynically. Very bad challenge actually from Lockyer, the Rovers captain. This, remember, a player who's in his international squad in terms of, well, those Lyons, I beg his pardon. Sorry, Mr. Lockyer. Chris Lyons, who you've mentioned a few times. Who
Lyons should have been booked for the cynical pullback, so he's very lucky to still be on the pitch. But Lockyer, part of this Bristol Rovers back 4, you almost start to think it's a good job Wales didn't qualify. Lockyer's going to be marshalling the back 4 at a World Cup. He's not had the best of nights. Town
free kick, not too far outside the 18-yard box. It's 4-0 here to Shrewsbury Town. 4-0. Paul Hurst still in his seat in the press box. This must make terrific viewing for the Shrewsbury manager. who's got the Midas touch. Long may that be the case. Town free kick then. Who's having a look at this one? Nolan's there. Junior Brown. Is it Worley? Hands on hips, eyeing this one. I think it is. Slocum poised on his goal line. He's been beaten 4 times already. Ball played in, lovely touch from Sadler. Could break towards Rodman, and Rovers hack it away. Clever free kick. One very much off the Sundorne Castle training ground. Town come again with Nolan. Blackburn have equalised against Plymouth. Brad Dack, who scored here a few weeks ago. Not many away players have. He's got the equaliser against the bottom side. 2 minutes of added on time to be played. Quite frankly, we don't want half-time. They do at a night like this. We're all being so richly entertained by this stunning Shrewsbury Town side. 4-0 to Town. A go-go. Header to Brown in the centre circle. Brown does well. Picks out Rodman. Rodman looks for a go-go. Town's biggest win so far this season, 2-0 against Scunthorpe. As it stands, barring an unfortunate chain of events from a Salopian viewpoint in the second half, they should surpass that this evening. 4-0 to Town, who are keeping the ball here. Olé time from the Town fans. They're loving this. Cast your mind back, Town fans, 12 months ago almost. Northampton came here and won 4-2. It could have been 8-2. This is one-touch football of the highest quality. Rodman now, charging forward. Looks for Worley, unable to find him this time. Bowler clears. Shell-shocked Rovers look for Harrison. Up against Enciala on the left-hand side. Ball comes in, cleared by Sadler. And it will be a Rovers throw, 20 yards from the Town goal on the left-hand side. 4-0 to Town.
Well, the Olays are richly deserved for this Shrewsbury Town starting 11, who have absolutely put Bristol Rovers to the sword. They'll go in at half-time and get a well-deserved pat on the back from the management team. This has been as good a half of football from the home side as this stadium has seen.
Yep, I can't remember anything as good as this. Yeah, I suppose Town did have, I almost say as an afterthought, yeah, I suppose Town did have that 7-0 win here against Gillingham. When Paul Simpson was the manager, Grant Holt was in that team, Ben Davis. That was a level lower. That was
the third tier.
This is League
One.
At
the top of the third tier.
Yeah.
It's phenomenal, isn't it?
It is. Yep, marvellous. Henderson clears long. He was involved in the move which led to the first goal, wasn't he, with his quick early throw out to Rodman. There's half-time. And a standing ovation from just about everybody with a Shrewsbury Town shirt or scarf or bobble hat on here at the Montgomery Waters Meadow, because that is as close to perfection as you will get, I would have thought, in that first half, the second half. But it's 4-0 to Shrewsbury Town. What about being professional here? Yes, of course, we'd love to see a few more goals, but could have been sure they're not too gung-ho and cavalier. Shrewsbury in this second half, although they've got a decent cushion with 4 goals. Is that just me being ultra cautious?
So speaks a long-suffering Shrewsbury Town fan. You've 4-0 up at half-time. Don't get too carried away. No, I think they've been absolutely phenomenal. By the way, Lyons has gone off. If this hasn't been one of the worst performances of his professional career, I dread to think when he's played worse. And yeah, that they absolutely need a bit of physicality in midfield. And Sinclair does provide that. He looks a bit like a pirate and plays like one too, but Town have been irresistible.
Yep, really impressive from Shrewsbury Town as we get this second half underway. 4-0 they lead here at the Montgomery Waters Meadow. Really happy place to be, isn't it, if you're a Shrewsbury Town follower. Rovers attack down the centre of the pitch. Header well won here by Abu Ugogo to Shrewsbury Town. Town knock it forward. Carlton Morris gives chase, putting the pressure on the Rovers defender. Ball hooked away by Rovers out to the far side, and here come Town again. 4-0 they lead. Bolton forward to Worley, and Worley, has he won a corner? Yes, he has. Corner to Shrewsbury Town here.
Yeah, and again they've started the second half as they ended the first, putting pressure on Rovers in their own half, quick, using the full width of the pitch. The fullbacks and the wingers have been excellent today, and winning a set piece.
Town corner then. So they attack down the right hand side, corner swung in towards Enciala. Oh, just wide. Nearly 5, wasn't it, at the start of this second half? Fantastic stuff.
Should have scored, Big Toto, shouldn't he, actually, once he got there? And he did, with a little bit of effort to spare, towering over the defender in front of him. I think it might have been Lockyer, and Enciala stayed down for a while, but has got back to his feet now. He's jogging back towards the halfway line. Couldn't get the header on target when anything to right or left of the goalkeeper Slocum probably would have made it 5.
Yep, pretty close, wasn't it, from Toto Enciala at the start of the second half, but it's 4-0. It's keeping count. It is still 4, isn't it? 4-0 to Shrewsbury Town. Incredible night at the Montgomery Waters Meadow. How ruthless do Town want to be? No, Rovers have the ball. Stunning shell-shock night for them, isn't it? Remember, they were 6-0 winners as well in their last away game at Northampton, which must make it even more difficult to comprehend for those Rovers supporters behind the goal, and they've had a closer view of those goals. Here come Town again, quickly back into their stride with Rodman down the left-hand side. Rodman with the step over, into the box he goes. Rodman delivers, cleared. Who's there? Could break for Godfrey on the edge of the box. Rovers nowhere for them to go. Nolan wins it, then he's fouled, and it will be a Shrewsbury Town free kick.
2 pieces of unbelievable play there. One, the flick from Morris in the build-up, and then Bristol Rovers won the ball back, and Nolan using his pace and reading the game so well to get in front and win the ball back and get the free kick. Unbelievably good.
Town attack down the right. Worley swings the ball in, too much on it this time. Nice control from the young ball boy, wasn't it? Took that down beautifully in front of the Salah Pleasure stands, and a nice round of applause for him. He'll have enjoyed that moment. I think Sean Worley would rather have found a teammate than the ball boy mind, but it's a goal kick. We'll forgive him that. Sean Worley's had a hand in a couple of the goals, hasn't he? The free kick for Junior Brown, and the 1-2 with Rodman for the opener. He's looking lively. That's what Town have got, with such pace in the team compared to 12 months ago when Worley apart, there was very little, was there, in terms of pace?
Yeah, Worley mostly couldn't get in the team, so yeah, absolutely right. When teams leave space, Town have the space, the pace to exploit it, and in Carlton Morris they've got a centre forward that those players could play off, the likes of Nolan as well, and as an attacking force they've been brilliant.
And the board is out of play. It will be a Bristol Rovers throw in as they attack. Shell-shocked Pirates. 4-0 to Shrewsbury Town. Last I heard it was still Wigan 0-0 as Rovers play the ball in from the right hand side. You'd think Wigan would win at Gillingham. You never know though. Gillingham galvanised by that win at
and Wigan to Kent
weekend
on a Tuesday night. That is the sort of away game in a 46 game Football League season that trips up a lot of teams. So I don't think it's a foregone conclusion. Wigan are the better side. We know that out of the 2 on paper. But you don't win games like that, and they've got to go and beat Gillingham.
Well, Rovers attack down the right hand side. Is it damage and imitation for them, or are they going to have a bit of a go at retrieving this uphill task they have? They have the ball just inside their own half with Lockyer, the captain. No zip to Rovers. They're badly missing Billy Bowden, you might say, their top goal scorer. But even so, he couldn't help them massively keep 4 goals out of the other end, could he? Here's Morris, great play. Again, he looks a player, this boy, such a powerhouse. Midway inside the Rovers half, on he goes, keeps it nice and simple to Nolan. And now Rodman. Good dribbling again from Rodman, who has been fantastic. Don't envy you, Mark, about trying to pick a man of the match at some stage tonight, by the way. Not an easy task. Nolan, short to Brown. Liverpool now 5-0 up against Maribor. Junior Brown well forward, great ball, whipped in. Who's on the end of that one? No one this time, but Worley doesn't give up the ghost. He's after that one. And the ball cleared by Sercombe downfield. Well won back by Bolton. 4-0 Shrewsbury lead. If you've missed the first half, you've missed an absolute treat. Goals from Rodman, Morris, Nolan and Brown. Town have scored 4 and they've left their leading goal scorer on the bench tonight. Stephen Payne rested, which says it all, doesn't it? He'll be licking his lips, wanting to get on at some stage, I'm sure. Rovers keep the ball at the on the edge of their 18-yard box. Back it goes to Slocum. Look at it go charging in. And he almost got there, didn't he, as Slocum clears long over halfway. You might be right about this being the night that Agogo finally scores. It's that sort of night, isn't it? Here come Rovers with Sercombe. They'll all be fancying a slice of the goal action, but they must be disciplined at the other end. As Rovers attack with Bowler up to the edge of the box. Well won by Nolan, who's got everything, hasn't he? He can create and he can destroy, as he did then. Strong lung-busting run from Worley. Worley sweeps it to this near side to Rodman. Masterclass from him as well tonight. Into the box he goes, fancies a shot here. Tees up Nolan instead to Brown. Town toying with Rovers. Angles tight. Brown still gets a shot in. Beaten out by Slocum. Town hungry for more.
Yeah, and they're so confident at the moment. And Rovers have gone. Psychologically, they are all over the shop now. Carlton Morris is nutmegging people as well.
Nolan shoots. Deflection. Controlled by Rodman on the left-hand side of the box. Plays the ball in, cleared by the beleaguered visiting defence, who have shipped 4 goals inside this first half between minutes 12 and 41. Portsmouth have got one back at Doncaster in League One. An own goal for Pompey at the start of the second half. Nolan forward to Worley. Champagne football again from Town. Worley runs into a tackle, but there's Nolan on the scene quickly to ping it out to this near side to Rodman, to Brown. Challenge comes in from Sinclair, and Town have a throw 15 yards from the Rovers goal. Town fans behind that goal at the Salah Leisure Stand end. They've had to look at the other end to see the 4 goals, haven't they, so far? They'd love a couple in front of their noses in this second half. Not that we're getting
changed, haven't they, in terms of the goal action so far? But you wouldn't put it past Town to get another couple at least in the second half. They just look a country mile better than Bristol Rovers. And as I say, Carlton Morris, big centre forward, using his pace and dexterity, throwing in step overs and knocking it through defenders' legs and running at them. He's been unbelievably good tonight. Stephen Payne might be looking on and worrying that he might struggle to get back in, despite being Shrewsbury's top scorer. And again, what a fantastic headache for Paul Hurst that is, as Rodman takes one on the Achilles and takes a while to get back to his feet.
Well, the beauty of having a 4-0 lead is that, without wishing to take anything for granted, I can hardly believe I'm saying this, having watched this club for so many years, but the beauty of being 4-0 up early in the second half is that Town can potentially rest 2-3 players with an eye on the weekend, because it won't, the Fleetwood game here, because it won't weaken the team, because you look at that bench, they would have walked into the starting 11, wouldn't they, this time 12 months ago, and then some.
I'm going to stick my neck out, Stuart, and say I think Shrewsbury might win this game.
Here's Sinclair. Don't take anything for granted, Mark. Rovers about to make another change. Brown moving towards halfway. He's been fabulous again, hasn't he? Lifts the ball forward to Morris. Morris down the left-hand side. Commits the defender. Lockyer beats him for pace. Into the box he goes. Good recovery from Lockyer this time, in fairness to him. And that will be a goal kick to Bristol Rovers, who are 4-0 down here to Shrewsbury Town with 54 minutes on the clock.
Yeah, if you're looking at the Shrewsbury Town bench, it might be one for Arthur Nahua to go and continue his education as a Football League player. Linnell John Lewis as well, it might be one for him to get on and try and add to his goal tally. Brim Morris hasn't had much action tonight, and well, with 55 minutes gone, what a wonderful conversation to be having at 4-0.
Yeah, and as if Town tonight couldn't be going any better, news reaches us that Wigan Athletic are losing at Gillingham, and a former Shrewsbury Town loanee twice over, Tom Eaves, has got the goal. So Wigan, top of the table on goal difference at start of play, losing 1-0 at lowly Gillingham. And a Town old boy's got the goal, Tom Eaves. What a day this has been, with the great news about the safe standing crowdfunding target being reached as well.
Well, Shrewsbury Town potentially tonight will be making headlines in the morning's papers and on TV and on radio for being not only top of the third tier again, having thrashed decent opposition, which they're on the verge of completing that feat at 4-0 up, but also off the pitch leading the way in offering safe standing to their supporters.
Yep.
You would have to go back a long time to find a better day to wake up a Shrewsbury Town fan.
Incredible. Trailblazers on and off the field, Shrewsbury Town. 11 minutes played in this second half. BBC Shropshire, Stuart Dunn and Mark Elliott enjoying ourselves immensely at the Meadow tonight. Rovers look direct, asking too much of Tom Nichols, who can't buy a goal at the moment. Always rated him. He scored quite a few goals for Peterborough last season. Nichols scored 13 times for the Posh, 24 years of age, but it's not happening for him so far at Bristol Rovers. Rovers are about to make a change, and they're taking off a forward in Rory Gaffney, and they're sending on Daniel Ledbetter. 4-0 Shrewsbury Town lead.
Well, I think they're now committed to a bit of damage limitation, aren't they? Attacking player comes off, and a player who is taking up the right back position with number 2 on his back, Ledbetter, is coming on. They're going to a back 5, it would seem.
MK Dons 1, Walsall 1 in League One. Tyler Roberts from the penalty spot, former Town loan player. Godfrey knocks it forward, a current Town loan player. The loanees have added much, haven't they, to this team? Henderson in goal, Godfrey in midfield, and Carlton Morris up front. Great recruitment again. Godfrey knocks it forward, and Rodman is onside on the left-hand side. The substitute Ledbetter, who's come on, just comes across. Rodman holds him off and plays it to Brown, to Nolan. Town fancy a 5th here, you can tell. Godfrey. Bolton now storming forward on the right-hand side, steadies himself, whips the ball in now. They could break here towards Morris, tees up Rodman over the bar! Oh! And he's annoyed with himself. Nearly 5-0. Perhaps it should have been, if you're being ultra critical of this outstanding, absolutely outstanding performance from Rodman and Shrewsbury Town.
Yeah, and again it was a decent opportunity, and well, Shrewsbury could, had they converted all of their chances, be edging close to double figures. It's been that sort of night, and Rodman has been at the heart of so much that's been good about Town tonight. He's been so effective on this left-hand side.
Yep, on the left-hand side, Town have been fantastic, haven't they? Brown and Rodman complement each other so well. Shrewsbury quickly back into their stride then at the start of this second half. Could well be a long night, if it isn't already, for Bristol Rovers. I think back to a Meadow game against Bristol Rovers when they won 5-2 at Game Meadow, and they had a fella called Giuliano Grazioli who scored a hat-trick, and they loved it that day, coming to the Meadow and scoring 5. Bit of retribution maybe a few years on here. Here's Nolan for Town. Rovers, who must hate coming to Shrewsbury. Remember that fact we told you ahead of the start of the programme? Haven't scored here in their last 5 visits, spanning 15 years. And they're 4-0 down. Good play from Town down the right-hand side. Bolton dovetailing neatly with Worley. Worley once more gets the ball out of his feet. Berry have equalised at Blackpool, 1-1. Jermaine Beckford, the former Premier League centre-forward. It's the sort of quality that's in this division now. People like Beckford, and it's Shrewsbury Town who are leading the way. Should they win here tonight, and they are 4-0 up with half an hour to play, they will have 34 points from 14 matches. If you're picking up an average of 2 points a game, you're doing well.
Well, that's it. I was just going to say, I remember the former Telford manager Liam Watson always setting a target for his team, 2 points a game. He always said would give you a chance of winning the league title. And well, Shrewsbury would be 6 points better off than that with 14 games gone. I was going to say if they close this out, when they close this out. I mean, it's the start to the season that has stunned everyone, and it's such a good platform to build from. Shrewsbury's expectations have changed entirely. They are now a side that wants to be, if not in the automatic promotion mixer at the end of the season, which certainly if you're top of the league now, you would be hoping you would be able to stick around, but certainly in the playoffs. And what an achievement from Paul Hurst.
Yep, fantastic. Deserves all the plaudits he's getting, doesn't he, Paul Hurst, who's in deep conversation with Chris Doig. It's not Chris Doig, is it? It's Chris Kittis in the physio. Chris get a little bit shorter than Chris Doig, and the clue was he had those blue gloves on, surgical gloves. Is that the technical term?
I think so, yeah.
It'll do. 4-0 to Shrewsbury Town, and we played an hour here at the Montgomery Waters Meadow. The attendance 5,642. Good crowd for a Tuesday night game, isn't it? 5,642. Decent following from Bristol, 524. I wonder how many of those Bristolians will decide to get back on the road a little bit earlier as it stands, as Godfrey breaks the play again. Here's Rodman, always dangerous when he gets on the ball down the left-hand side. That rest he had on Saturday has worked wonders for him, hasn't he? Brown to a go-go. Now with Nolan, turns away from danger. Back it goes to Godfrey. And now with Enciala, who almost got a goal of his own at the start of this second half, heading wide. And Town keep it with Godfrey. Out now with Sadler. Town just keep the ball in the centre circle with Godfrey, pulling the strings. He looked A little bit off the pace at times, didn't he, at Plymouth on Saturday as well, Godfrey? You expect peaks and troughs from young players, but he's banged right at it again tonight, isn't he? It's time to just keep the ball inside their own half.
As well for Godfrey, as he plays in front of the back four, he wants to win the ball in midfield and drive his team forward. Plymouth didn't come out, so there was nothing for him to win. So he was a little bit redundant playing as he does in front of the defence. He's been absolutely outstanding tonight.
Yep, they've all been outstanding. There's a rarity. John Nolan gives the ball away. Rovers inside their own half of the young sub Ledbetter. Ledbetter goes for the return ball. Good burst of pace from the youngster. Agogo goes with him, and even at 4-0, Agogo is not giving that up at all. He goes sliding in perfectly to win the ball. Rovers have a throw midway inside their own half. They're the high standards that are driving this Shrewsbury team on.
Yeah, and actually, times like this are important that Town don't put their feet up and light the cigars. It's absolutely the sort of game in which they'll be feeling like they can send a real statement to the rest of League One. There are teams that might take their foot off the gas and win this game 4-2, for instance. There are other teams that plough on and make this a real night to remember, and I think Shrewsbury, attitude-wise, definitely fall into the latter camp.
Yep, very much so. Rochdale 2-0 up on struggling Northampton. Ian Henderson. Rochdale improving after a slow start. The only team to have scored 2 goals against Shrewsbury Town in a game, mind, this season, albeit they were both penalties, weren't they, from Steve Davis here in the early weeks of the season. Here come Rovers with Ollie Clark. Uses Ledbetter. This is better from Rovers as they look to give those away fans something to shout about. Ledbetter closed down by Agogo. Good ball in from Ledbetter, and there's a great take again from this confident young goalkeeper, Dean Henderson.
He is confident, and he's playing against a really good back four for him, because they don't let a lot through. And yes, when Rovers have got the ball wide, he's come out and he's shown really good command of his penalty area, but the defenders in front of him have made his job so much easier tonight, and for much of this season. Just the 9 goals conceded for Town from 13 games coming into this, coming up 13 and 2/3, and anything less than a goal a game is a really good record.
Here's Junior Brown. Remember, Wigan losing as it stands at lowly Gillingham, so it's a perfect night shaping up to be. But Wigan have got dangerous players in their team, haven't they? Nick Powell, Tony, Grigg. So you wouldn't write them off just yet down at Priestfield, a ground, remember, where Town have been to and have won this season. The scouts who are sat just in front of the press box must be mightily impressed with what they're watching here tonight. Town 4-0 up. Carlton Morris challenged by Partington, the right back, goes out for a Town throw. Chris Doig doing the job of ball boy this time, just throws it back to Junior Brown, and Town have another chance to get motoring forward. Junior Brown takes his throw back into his own half to Sadler. Town just keeping the ball. Here's Enciala. 65 minutes on the clock. 4-0 to Shrewsbury Town. Town 3 points clear of Wigan in the live table. The gap between Town and Bradford in third, 7 points, and the gap currently between Town and Scunthorpe in 7th, outside the playoff spot. So we could have this sort of conversation 14 games into the season, is 12 points. Stephen Payne's coming on here for the Town, and Carlton Morris took a knock, hasn't he? No point taking a risk. He has been magnificent again. Morris making way for Stephen Payne.
Yeah, he's been absolutely fantastic tonight, Carlton Morris. His hold-up play, centre-forward play, towering header for the goal, but he's shown some really good skill, a bit of pace and quality movement and dexterity and a little bit of subtlety as well to his game. He's shown all of the facets of the game required to be a superb centre-forward in the modern game, and he's got a big future ahead of him.
Yeah, very much so. Still surprised he's had just one sub-appearance for the Norwich City first team. Become a lone ranger, hasn't he? Paul Hurst watched him, likes him, and a very astute addition to the Town side. Rovers have a throw in the left-back position here. It's Shrewsbury 4, Bristol Rovers 0 here on BBC Radio Shropshire. The goals coming in the first half for Paul Hurst's rampant side. Rodman on 12, Carlton Morris on 24, Nolan on 29, and Brown on 41. Could have had a couple more as well, either side of half-time. Rovers played up towards Harrison. Harrison turns and uses Clark. Out it goes to the far side to Bowler. Town just closing down so well, though. There's nowhere for Rovers to go. Rovers' away record is bizarre. They've won 3-2 at Bury, 6-0 at Northampton, and they've lost to Charlton on the opening day, and they've let in 3 at Bradford, Wigan and Portsmouth. 3-0 defeats at both Wigan and Portsmouth. So they are a mixed bag. Here's Nichols for the away side. Finds Sinclair with the ponytail and the beard. Ball in from the left by Bowler. Town mop it up with a minimum of fuss, and they're on the front foot once again. They give the ball away this time. Partington, the Rovers right back, works it to this near side towards Ledbetter. Ledbetter carries the ball forward. Junior Brown comes across and covers. On he goes. Good block from Junior Brown. Bristol Rovers corner. You could hear a few ironic cheers from those Bristol Rovers supporters, all 524 of them. Corner.
Yeah, they've looked a bit more solid, haven't they, since they went to a back three and had that extra body in there, but they're not having too much of an effect going forward now. It's that balance, isn't it?
Rovers corner, swung in by Circum. Far too much on it. It almost goes out for a throw. They just about keep it in here. Town just have to stay switched on. Better ball comes in second time. Harrison rises and he heads over the bar. Look at Henderson showing his agility as he hangs off the crossbar as though he was in the gymnasium.
He was briefly a trapeze artist, wasn't he there, Dean Henderson, who is ever the showman. And again, at 4-0 up and keeping yet another clean sheet, he can afford to be as charismatic as he likes.
I think Henderson has had a save to make, has he? Rovers' efforts have been off target, haven't they, so far? He hasn't had a save to make so far, the Shrewsbury goalkeeper. He'll claim an assist as well for that throw-out, which led to that classic end of the field move for the opening goal. And that really set the tone, didn't it, for what has followed. Town have a throw midway inside the Rovers' half. Brown with it down the line towards Payne, who I'm sure will be eyeing this as a chance to add to his goal tally. 7 times he's found the net now for Shrewsbury this season. Throw-in taken by Brown towards Rodman, who's got 3 goals now this season. Brown has scored his opener of the season. Nolan, great ball inside the fullback. Rodman gets after it, stands it up towards the far post. Wardy beaten in the air by Bowler. And he defends well, doesn't he, this time, the left back, who's clearly a talent. He's an Arsenal player on loan at Bristol Rovers. Rovers take a bit of a chance there, and Sweeney gets lucky as his clearance is cannoned down by Wardy, and it spins behind for a Rovers goal kick. Rovers about to make their 3rd and final change. Dom Telford is about to come on for the team who are 4-0 down here.
Yeah, and again, I guess it will just be about getting numbers into the middle of the park and in front of the Rovers goal. That's basically what they've been doing throughout with their substitutions, and just trying to stop the onslaught from Shrewsbury, who haven't scored in this second half. And I guess Bristol Rovers deserve some credit for that. They have at least been able to stem the tide, but the damage long ago done, and the Town have been at their best tonight.
Town just played their way out from the back here with Enciala. Rovers still waiting to introduce Telford from the bench. Harry Kane, I'm told, has missed a great chance for Tottenham in the Bernabeu. Still 1-1. It'd be a decent result for Spurs, wouldn't it, if they come back from the Spanish capital with something on the board. Rovers now look for Harrison. Harrison holds off Brown, and he spins well. He hasn't given up, has he? Good attitude from Harrison. Ball played in by Ledbetter from the right. Sinclair breaks into the box, takes it down, but shows too much of that to Bolton, who hooks it away to safety. And Rovers have a throw 20 yards from the Town goal. Here come Paul Hurst and Chris Doig. Even though their team are 4-0 up, you can guarantee they are such perfectionists. They'll want more, won't they? They'll want a bit more from their team, ideally. if they can get it in these final 19 minutes. So Ash Taylor's got one back for Northampton, who are 2-1 down at Rochdale in League One.
Yeah, I feel a bit sorry for Harrison, actually. There's usually one or two players, isn't there, in a team that are on the wrong end of a thumping that you feel sorry for, and Harrison's kept going. Looks a bit of a player, actually. Whether he'll have the goals and end product to show for his endeavour at the end of the season remains to be seen.
Well, that's poor from Rovers, a long way off target, and that will be a goal kick. You don't get these games, don't you, when a team can go 4-0 up or 3-0 up in the first half and there's no addition to the scoring. Town have had their chances though, haven't they, to move further ahead in the second half, but 4-0 will do more than nicely. Napoli have got one back at the Etihad from the penalty spot in the Champions League. City 2-1 up at the moment. Liverpool comfortably 5-0 in front in their Champions League tie, and Tottenham 1-1 in the Bernabeu against Real Madrid. A couple of the Town subs warming up. Bryn Morris, this could be an ideal night to get him a few minutes back in League One action for the first time since the opening day. He played against Albion under 21s in the Checkatrade a fortnight ago. This is something different, isn't it, playing in League One, albeit coming into a team that's well in command. Here's Harrison for Rovers. Better spell this for the team from Bristol. Ledbetter, who's done pretty well since coming on with his team 4-0 down. And he uses Partington. Good ability from Partington. Edge of the box, plays the ball in, cleared by Godfrey, anywhere will do. And that's the Bristol Rovers throw midway inside their own half. 4-0 to Shrewsbury Town. We've got a couple of guests lined up to speak to us as the final whistle goes here, give us their thoughts. Good night to be lined up, isn't it, to offer your post-match thoughts if you're a Shrewsbury Town follower when your team are 4-0 up, and we'll listen from those as we hope to bring you reaction from Paul Hurst, the manager, before we go off air tonight. If the clock beats us, we will have that Paul Hurst interview on our social media channels later tonight, and of course we will also be on the breakfast show with Eric and Vicky in the morning on BBC Shropshire. Rovers have the ball on halfway. They run into Godfrey, knocks it forward. Rovers find Ledbetter. Good ball juggling from Ledbetter. Plays it in field. Junior Brown will let that one go out for a throw, will he? No, he won't. He'll keep it in and he'll find Sadler. Knocks it forward into touch, and Rovers have a throw. Game going through a little bit of a lull, but I guess it's always going to when it has been so one-sided earlier in the piece. Shrewsbury absolutely outstanding in the first half to get into that 4-0 lead, and they are in cruise control, you might say, in some ways. Here's Nolan on halfway, nice control, plays it slightly behind Rodman this time, and the ball goes into touch through Rovers' throw. 4-0 to Shrewsbury Town, and remember, it's still Gillingham 1, Wigan 0, so Town as it stands will be back at the top of the table tonight. Curtis Tilt has scored for Blackpool, who lead Bury 2-1 at Bloomfield Road. Enciala plays a good back pass to Henderson, plays it out from the back to Bolton, who can charge forward here. Bolton forward to Nolan. Town look for Payne. Ball played slightly behind him, and Rovers snuff out the danger this time. Carlton Morris just warming down in front of the family enclosure. And he's got his legs in a position I could only dream about. Carlton Morris.
Yes.
That's a very impressive splits, isn't it, from the Norwich Loaner.
If that's what it takes to be a professional footballer, that's why I haven't made it. I could get about halfway, I think.
So I was asked ahead of the game, Mark, I didn't tell you this actually, under the stand at about 6:30 tonight, I was asked by a steward, did Mark Elliott used to play for Cardiff City?
Yes. I'll take that.
Just take it. Just take it. Apparently he'd found an old programme with a young footballer signing apprentice forms by the name of Mark Elliott.
The problem was it was from 1958.
A different Mark Elliott, I fancy. Perhaps, potentially. 4-0 to Shrewsbury Town here as they build down the right with Bolton. Good touch. Can Town get a fifth here in front of the home end? Bolton in towards Payne. Holds the ball up. Payne into the side netting. Decent turn. Angle was always against him. And that's a goal kick to Bristol Rovers.
Yeah, and again, Rovers' game plan in the second half has just been damage limitation. They've gone to a back five, essentially. They've dropped the two central midfielders deep. They've just blocked Town off, and at 4-0 Shrewsbury haven't found the sort of space they did in the first half, and that's why they haven't scored again as of yet. But it has taken a complete reorganisation and a complete logjam in midfield to stop or come anywhere near close to stopping Town tonight.
4-0 they lead. Rovers send it back to the goalkeeper, a bit looser back pass. Slocum does well to come out and get there just ahead of a go-go. And now Rovers pump it forward. There's Sadler, gets his head to that one. Rovers have the ball in the centre circle. Just a one change for Town so far, with Payne coming on. I'm sure the other subs would love a slice of the action. People like Dodds and Nahua, John Lewis, Bryn Morris we've mentioned. 4-0 to Shrewsbury Town, 12 minutes to go. All the goals in the first half, between minutes 12 and 41. Stunning first half performance. Second half's been pretty good as well. Just no goals yet. Well, you wouldn't bet against that being changed in the closing stages. Wigan still 1-0 down at Gillingham. Tom Eaves, the goal scorer. With Rovers, with Lockyer, the captain, comes over halfway and plays a short ball out to the left hand side towards Bowler. 4-0 to Shrewsbury Town. Here's Lockyer once more. Square to Partington, the right back. He's had a difficult night against Rodman and Brown. Ledbetter down the right, swings the ball in. Sadler clears. They've got a man over there with the far post. Great block though from Bolton. As the shot came in from Sercombe. Fantastic closing down. Rochdale 2, Northampton 2. David Buchanan for Northampton, who were 2-0 down. It's now 2-2. Better for Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank's side. Ledbetter crosses from the right, and there's Henderson again. Terrific catch. Once more, he wants our clean sheet, you can guarantee that.
Yeah, absolutely, and well, his defenders in front of him absolutely deserve it, as does Henderson. He's done what he needed to do well tonight, hasn't had an awful lot of action to contend with. Nahua is going to come on as well, another chance for him to just develop himself again, get used to league football. Of course, signing from Kidderminster is a big step up. He's looked decent in patches when he's played this season without ever being consistently what Paul Hurst has been looking for to really compete with Rodman and Worley. Another chance to further acclimatise tonight.
Here's Nolan for Town, coming forward down the right hand side. Nolan once more, got options right and left, uses Worley. Nolan, the playmaker, get Mark's take on his man of the match shortly. Nahua is about to come on. Bolton well forward. Has he been caught there? Worley, I think he was actually. He's up, thankfully. Limping a little bit. He was Bolton, actually. Should have stuck with my first attempt. And he's moved, limping a little bit heavily at the moment. Keep an eye on that one. No Joe Riley on the bench tonight. Godfrey, I guess, could go there and play right back, as he did when he came on at Doncaster a couple of Tuesday nights ago. Nahua then waiting in the wings. He likes a Tuesday night goal, doesn't he? Nahua scored the winner at Doncaster late on. And he also scored at Coventry on a Tuesday in the Checker Trade Trophy. Rovers free kick, 20 yards from the Town goal on the right hand side. It will be a chance for the change to happen first of all though. And coming off, Nolan again to a standing ovation, got a goal, played very well. And here comes Nahua for the final 10 minutes.
An interesting change, isn't it? Nolan, central midfielder, coming off. Nahua, who's played all of his football for Town out wide, coming on, and with Rodman and Worley already out there, it will be interesting to see what position Nahua takes up. But again, it's a great time to be coming on, isn't it? Even with 10 minutes to go, 4-0 up, very little in terms of pressure on Nahua, and he can go out and enjoy the last 10 minutes and try and make a mark on this game.
Well, Rovers free kick then, swung in. Henderson's after this one, here he comes, and does enough. Didn't catch it cleanly this time, but he knocked it down, and then he was on the spot to pick the ball up. 4-0 to Shrewsbury Town. Wigan have equalised at Gillingham. Sam Morsey, the former pupil of the Thomas Telford School in Telford, Egypt international. If Wigan win that game, they would stay top on goal difference, although Town have enhanced their own goal difference prospects tonight, haven't they, by being 4 goals to the good here against Bristol Rovers. They scored 4 under Paul Hurst before.
Not that I can
they
think
have.
of.
No, they got 3 against Rochdale this season. Did they score 3 last season? Struggling to recall. They did in the Cup, didn't they? Barnet and Middlesbrough,
Charlton
the Checker Trade
as well here.
Charlton, you're right. Yep, 4-3. Well remembered.
4-3, yeah.
That was a Tuesday game as well, wasn't it? Yeah, second time they've scored 4 under the manager Paul Hurst, whose stock continues to rise with every passing week, doesn't it? Here's Nahua. Fresh legs of the ex-Kidderminster player. Runs into danger. Rovers will play their way out from the back. 1-1 still at Gillingham and Wigan. The equaliser from Morsey. Eves have given Gillingham the lead. Town still top in the live table as it stands. Nahua looks for Rodman, can't find him this time. 7 minutes to go. Who's your man of the match, Mark? Good luck, by the way.
Yeah, it's a really difficult one, isn't it? Rodman would be up there, Morris would be up there. I think Godfrey's done very well. Wally's contributed. It's very, very difficult. I think.
But it's like this time 12 months ago, but for very different reasons,
absolutely.
Mark, when I asked you that question at times.
Yeah, and you couldn't think of anybody who'd play well. I think Agogo's done well. 1 to 11, they've been excellent. I think I'm struggling to pick between Rodman and Morris. Junior Brown has been really good as well. I think if I had to, if you forced me, I might go for Rodman, maybe Morris, but it's been outstanding as a team.
Yep, absolutely outstanding. 4-0 to Shrewsbury Town. The night's biggest winners, looking at the results or the latest scores from around League One. Plymouth, by the way, still drawing at Blackburn Rovers. Some Town fans were a little bit disappointed, weren't they? The Town, inverted commas, only drew at Plymouth. For me, it was a decent point. Any away point's a good point for me. And here we are, a few days later. Plymouth go to Ewood Park. It is still one apiece.
Well, today makes that a decent point, doesn't it? If you then don't back it up at home, then it becomes a bit of a problem, but they've backed it up, and how.
Here's Rodman breaking into the box, left-hand side, looks for Payne just in front of him. Payne a little bit frustrated. Idea was there from Rodman. Who did he go for in the end? Sorry, man of the match?
Rodman. And that was another terrific ball in, by the way. Payne just held up his run, couldn't quite get to the near post in time, but yeah, they've been so good out wide. Worley as well has contributed very effectively. Been quiet in the second half, but put in some decent balls, particularly the cross for Brown's header.
Brown infield to Nahua. Bryn Morris is going to get the last 5 minutes off the bench. Good to see him back. Played his part in Town beating the drop, didn't he, last season? Having come on board for Middlesbrough, then he signed a longer term deal in the summer. And it's 4-0 to Shrewsbury Town. Rovers slide the ball over halfway to Ellis Harrison. He hasn't given up. His attitude has been commendable. And in fairness to Rovers, even in this second half, they haven't given up the ghost, have they? They've kept going. Not easy when you come out and you're 4-0 down. Rovers have a throw near the corner flag before they will take it. Agogo's going to get a rest. Doesn't come off for many minutes, does he? Handing the armband to Matt Sadler. And another big favourite here, Abu Agogo, into his third season here. One of Mickey Bennon's best signings for this club. He came on board from Dagenham and Redbridge. And a standing ovation for the captain as he makes way for Bryn Morris with 86 minutes on the clock.
Yeah, he's worked incredibly hard, and you need that to provide a platform for performances like this. He's put in some really good tackles. He's covered so much ground. Agogo covered almost every blade of grass on the Meadow pitch tonight. Gets a well-deserved 5 minutes off, and a even more deserved standing ovation.
Yep. Played very well again, hasn't he? Abu Agogo. 4-0 to Shrewsbury Town. All the damage done in the first half when there was just no stopping Shrewsbury Town as they toured into shell-shocked Bristol Rovers. Rovers have the ball in the centre circle. Town fans, we'd love to hear from you tonight, wouldn't we, Mark? Give us a call, 01743 248321, 01743 248321, or send a text, as many of you like to. As Rovers play the ball in from the right-hand side, Sadler clears and Godfrey completes a clearance. 81333, 81333. Begin your message with the word Trop, as in Shropshire. And it's 4-0 to Shrewsbury Town with 3 minutes to go. Hope to hear lots of positive complimentary text tonight from Shrewsbury Town fans who must be loving this, living the dream at the moment.
I think even football fans would struggle to find a negative in this one. And I know we all love a moan, but if you can think of anything legitimate to moan about, although Grandpa Phil at half-time did say don't get carried away. If you can't get carried away now, when can you?
Yep, very much so. Sharp turn from Harrison here for Rovers. They attack. Harrison again to Bolo. Ball comes in. Can Rovers at least get themselves a consolation? Not as it stands. Town again deal with it confidently. And the ball is with Rovers on the left-hand side. Wimbledon 2, Rotherham 1. Lyle Taylor is second of the game. That would be a useful win for Wimbledon. Decent score for Shrewsbury as well, because Rotherham are one of those teams you can see pushing on in this season. Rotherham, they're 2-1 down at Wimbledon tonight, so table starting to settle down, isn't it? 14 games in.
It's a proper league table now. There's no doubt about that.
Yep, very much so. 4-0 to Shrewsbury Town. Rovers play their way out from the back. Not many people leaving early at either end. Credit to the Rovers fans who have stayed to watch this to the bitter end in some cases, as far as they're concerned, I'm sure. Sercombe for Rovers, who went close with a dipping half volley when it was 0-0. Sercombe shoots, and it's an easy save for Henderson. I think that's their first shot, isn't it? 88 minutes. First shot, Sercombe. And it's an easy save for Henderson.
It's amazing, isn't it? If Shrewsbury average not much better than a point a game, sort of just about keeping themselves up for the rest of the season, they've got a shot at the playoffs from here. That's how good a platform they've built.
Yep. Excellent foundations. Worley for Town, who's scored that late equaliser at Plymouth on Saturday. Can't give the ball away in the centre circle. 4-0 to Shrewsbury Town. Rovers attack with Ledbetter down the right. There's Bryn Morris back defending well. Back he goes to the goalkeeper, and Henderson clears up towards halfway. There's Worley. Ball work forward to Worley again. He looks to turn. 4-0 Shrewsbury lead here at the Montgomery Waters Meadow. It has been a marvellous performance from Shrewsbury Town. Ball is out of play. Bolton takes it. Is there to be even the icing on the cake of a fifth Shrewsbury Town goal here in the closing stages, or are we being a bit greedy if we want that? But it's 4-0. Rovers knock it long. Header well won by Matt Sadler. Rovers with Ellis Harrison goes back into his own half. And now it's with Sinclair. 4-0 to Shrewsbury Town. Rovers play the ball over to this near side towards Ledbetter. Ledbetter having a go at Junior Brown, beats him on the long way round. Still he has it, feeds it in field. This has been an outstanding performance, one of the best from Shrewsbury Town on a truly memorable night. 4-0 they lead. Rovers look for Harrison. 3 minutes of added on time we're about to move into here. 4-0. And Rovers shoot from distance, not a bad effort, and Henderson makes a save. Well, that was better, wasn't it? Henderson determined to keep this clean sheet, and who could blame him?
Yeah, straight at the goalkeeper. It was a lovely strike, right-footed, arrowed at the top corner. Henderson is so clean in almost everything he does. Only the one half-dropped catch tonight. Everything else has been immaculate, and he's a goalkeeper with immense potential.
Yeah, very much so. Ball played forward here by Bryn Morris. Shrewsbury 4, Bristol Rovers 0. As we move towards 20-10 on a memorable Tuesday night. I'd like to think there should be a good crowd here for the Fleetwood game this weekend, Mark, with Town playing this sort of football.
Been a bit of a bogey team, haven't they, Fleetwood, over the last few seasons? It would be great to banish that, and I think Town owe them 1 or 2.
Yep. Rovers attack down the left-hand side. Liverpool have won 7-0 in the Champions League. What's that they say about no easy games in the Champions League? That sounds pretty comfortable. 7-0 away to Maribor for Jurgen Klopp's side tonight. Rovers have a corner. Is this to be their moment? Are they going to get one back right at the death here? 4-0 to Shrewsbury Town. Rovers have committed plenty of men forward. Why not? They're 4-0 down. Corner taken towards the near post. Helped on. Lockyer heads it goalwards. No way through at the moment. Town clear to the edge of the box. Decent shot comes in. And it's straight at Henderson from Sercombe.
Really good hands though from Henderson, because Sercombe leathered that, and it was, again, an immaculate piece of goalkeeping. Caught it, never looked like dropping it, body behind the ball, fell forward, but safe hands.
He's made some good saves, hasn't he, latterly? Dean Henderson. No on-target shots until the 88th minute, and then Rovers have 3 in as many minutes. That's crazy, isn't it? 4-0 to Shrewsbury Town. Rovers work it out to Ledbetter. Works it forward towards Telford, the third and final Rovers sub. Ledbetter, who's done pretty well since coming on. He looks for Sercombe here, driving forward, and over comes Enciala, defends well. And he picks out Junior Brown. Brown in field to Nahua. Nice turn from Nahua. Has he given it away? No, he hasn't. Goes lunging in, wins it back, and the board is back with Henderson, this very impressive unknown Manchester United goalkeeper. 4-0 Shrewsbury lead. 5,642 through the gate here. It has been a fantastic team performance from minute 1. All the goals coming in the first half. Rovers have the ball on halfway. They look for Ledbetter again. And it's all over. And a big ovation for Shrewsbury Town. Outstanding, absolutely outstanding performance.